They believed in me, they supported and encouraged me. And, without that support, without somebody who was there to support me, to mentor me, to guide me, I don't know if I would have been able to fulfill my dreams.
Earlier this year, I turned 40 and I wanted to do something meaningful alongside all of the celebrating. I decided to ask my community to support me in helping an underprivileged community and give them a small yet transformative boost. This is how the Rainbow Boosters project was born. In sharing the idea with people, I realized that we all know of a teacher, a family member, a friend, an author, or a singer that has made a profound impact on our life. I wanted to create a space where we could share those stories. So welcome to the Rays of Sunshine series. This week, I'm delighted to welcome Kamlesh Purohit. Not only is Kamlesh a close family friend, he's a senior broadcaster with over 30 years of experience who has worked at the BBC News, Asian Network, BBC Sport and Test Match Special, 5 Live, Radio 4, and he's been a TV presenter on the BBC East Midlands Today. As managing editor at the UK's first BBC local radio station, he's passionately continued to push the boundaries and make great programmes. I hope this episode resonates with you and that you take away something valuable. Hi Kamlesh, welcome to the Rays of Sunshine series. How are you?
I'm very well indeed, Pradesh. I mean, the sun's shining. Yeah, things are looking very bright and I'm very well indeed, thank you.
The nature of this is about Rays of Sunshine. So can you tell me who was your ray of sunshine, the personal teacher that's had the biggest impact on your life, and how did they shape your future?
Well, this might sound like a bit of a cliche, but, my biggest hero in my life, without any doubt, and my role model was my mum. My mum became a widow at the age of 30. My dad was killed in a car crash when we were all young. She had 4 young children. The youngest was myself. I was just a few years old, and my oldest brother was just 14. And, mum brought all of us up single-handedly. We had no family or relatives. We moved from East Africa, where my dad was killed, to the UK pretty soon after this very sad event. And so we moved to a strange environment, a strange country with a strange culture and a language. And it was a struggle. And, we didn't have any family here. So, mum was on her own. The one thing she always insisted on was honesty and integrity. She was really that was really important to her. Those are the values that she brought us up with. But as a child growing up, I used to look at mum and just her work ethic. She worked really hard in life. She worked her fingers to the bone to put bread on the table and really to teach us what was important in life. And despite the fact that, we grew up not having much, she would always teach us what was right and what was wrong, and to value everything around you. And I remember once, she said, if you walk down the street and you see some money, don't pick it up. Or if you pick it up, make sure it goes to the person who it belongs to, or actually it's handed in. It's not your money. And those are the kind of things, that she taught us about honesty and integrity. And, to this day, it's the values that I try and uphold in my life. It's the philosophy with which I try and conduct myself as well, because I learned so much from my mom. And yeah, for me, she was the real hero in my life. And without her, God knows where we would have been. And with her integrity and her hard work ethic, is something that I've always marveled, and I will for the rest of my life. And it's what I teach my kids as well.
Wow, what a powerful story, and what an amazing woman to continue in the adversity with 4 children in alien territory. Must have been a real struggle. And from knowing stories of everyone that moved across, it's really a sense of community and people around them that helped everyone get through. It's one of the reasons why I wanted to talk to you and other people that have had similar journeys in their life, because I don't think we have that same sense of struggle and community in the way that you did and your mum did, because everything's a bit more easier, even though we're in a difficult world.
Absolutely. Yeah,
that sense of community helped, right?
Because we were all in the same boat. And we all had challenges, I came with my family. We came to the UK in 1972, just before the influx of Ugandan Asians from East Africa who were expelled by Idi Amin. And a lot of those people came virtually penniless. The clothes they had on their backs and the little suitcase they had was all that was their life. And so we were all in the same boat. We faced the same challenges. There was a lot of racism in the 1970s. We had this strange culture and environment to settle into. And we all had very similar backgrounds. We were all Asian people who had originated from the Indian subcontinent and had lived in East Africa. So there was a lot of commonality there. So we were all fighting the same battles. And so to be able to be there for each other and support that sense of community was really important. And it kind of got us through that sort of that solidarity, if you like, that camaraderie that we showed towards each other. Kind of took us through this. And this is one of the sad things that I look back on now and say, we've in a way lost some of that sense of community because we've all started to settle down and do well. People haven't got the same challenges in life. We've become a little bit more selfish, I think. Yeah. We don't perhaps value those things as much as we did back in the day.
Yeah, it's so apt that you talk about that, because it was one of the sense of things that I talked about my friends a lot when we talked about this project and setting it up. Some of them were like, I want to do something, I don't know where, because they, like you said, they've supported themselves to get them to a certain point, and we're all a lot more comfortable, and the challenges that we face aren't as difficult as they used to be. They're just different. But that whole consideration to go beyond yourself and help somebody else is less so now, and like you said, a little bit more selfish in looking after ourselves. So this is space, and this project is really to help those who are so intended to really go and do something beyond their means in a way that we used to do. So that sense of community is super important.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and it's very powerful, isn't it? And I guess as an individual, it's really satisfying, isn't it, when you do achieve that, when you bring, whether it's two individuals or a whole community together, especially when you're mobilizing for good, which you're doing, and it's so commendable. This project that you're working on. I think it's something you can look back on with immense pride, not because of your own ego, but it's because you've made a difference to somebody else's life, and I think that's so powerful.
Let's talk about stories a little bit. So as a successful broadcaster, you've had the opportunity to tell and hear countless stories of transformation. And I'm just really interested in your perspective on what it is about those stories that resonate with us so deeply. Why do you believe is the reason behind the powerful impact of people's personal story on us, therefore inspires you to take action and make a positive change in our own lives or others? Like, what's the magic in the story?
Yeah. In my job, I've just finished my stint as the acting managing editor at Radio Leicester, and one of the things I always used to tell my team, it's all about stories. Great radio is about great stories. At the end of the day, you can make it as complicated as you want and as technical as you want, but when you filter it all down, it's all about good stories. Whether it's a movie that you're watching or your real life, we all love a good story. One that's really powerful, one that's moving or has that emotional narrative, and then, if you cap it all with a happy ending, well, that's kind of what, draws you in. It's about that sort of unfolding narrative, which if we can relate to our lives, then it has that impact on us, and for me, and this is another thing that I used to drill down on all our journalists. It's about finding a great storyteller, someone who can make that real emotional connection with you, and then they can grip you with their charisma. So those two things are for me are quite key, to make that emotional connection and charisma. So emotional empathy and charisma, they're the two key things in what will kind of ultimately have that real powerful impact on you. Because what they've done is, through their narrative, through their charm, through their charisma, they've taken you through their journey. They've drawn you into their journey, and they've painted this kind of wonderful picture of that successful outcome, and that is what connects an individual to the point where it actually has that impact on them. And you asked the question, what is it that motivates us, to make change in our life, because we hear somebody else's great story, their experience, which draws you into their narrative. is what has the impact on you, because you kind of think, wow, that was really amazing. And if they can do that, then why can't I? And I think that's why, hearing good stories and having somebody who can deliver that with that charisma, I think is what really motivates people and inspires people, because it has that sort of emotional impact.
Yeah, I like that. I really like that, because it's not just the impact that the story has on you, it's that relevancy and the outcome. So it's the outcome that you think, oh, actually, I could have a version of this for myself, which sometimes you think, oh, it's the way that it's delivered, but it's the outcome. I could be that, which is interesting.
You have empathy with that, because we're all looking for goals in life and solutions in life, aren't we? And often we're so bogged down with detail, or we're so stressed about something, that we can't see the wood from the trees. We can't see the solution. And then you hear somebody's story, and the penny drops, and you immediately think, oh, that's the solution, or that's the way I should be going, or that's inspired me now to take my life in that direction.
Yeah, I completely agree. I recently rewatched your TED talk that you did a few years ago, the TEDx talk, and in it you share that you have a passion for finding, nurturing, and developing talent. And in our language, in our world, that's a characteristic of a ray of sunshine. Where does that passion come from?
And if I'm honest with you, it comes from my own journey.
Okay.
I feel so blessed, Pradesh. I feel so blessed and privileged, to have lived my dreams through my work. The things that I dreamt about as a kid, growing up, I've been able to fulfill through, the work that I've done. And I feel really fortunate that in my life, I had, people who were there at the beginning of my journey, and they believed in me, they supported and encouraged me. And, without that support, without somebody who was there to support me, to mentor me, to guide me, I don't know if I would have been able to fulfill my dreams. And I'm really grateful for that. I feel really grateful that, God sent me somebody in my life, who gave me that sort of support when I needed it. And so I guess, having had a really fulfilling career, in the BBC, but also in my private life as well, I can look back and say, I feel really content with so many things that I've done and I've experienced. And I just want to give that back to other people now. I feel so privileged that in my job, I come across people from all walks of life, from famous superstars, sportsmen and Bollywood stars, right through to ordinary people. And I meet so many fantastic, really talented, brilliant individuals. And, they deserve that support. They deserve that break. They deserve to achieve in life. And so, in my little way, I want to play a part, in being there for somebody. Like somebody was there for me when my journey started. I want to be there, for the young, the talented people who are starting out on that journey that I did, 3 or 4 decades ago. And if I can, through my experiences and through my journey, relate, we talk about telling stories, and if my story can inspire somebody and I can be there to support and encourage people, and they can then look back 40 years from now and say they also have had the same pleasure and fulfillment through their journey, then I'll die a happy man. I'll die a happy man. Yeah.
I love so much about that, because the first bit of your statement there, you could have gone, I've been so lucky, I've done everything, and now I'm just going to enjoy the rest of my life because I live my dreams. But there is this thing in you, which I see in the other rays of sunshine that we speak to, that is like, let me just help someone else. Because if they have the boost that I had, if they were given the chance that I had, it will transform their life. And I just commend you to take it.
It's the icing on the cake, isn't it?
Yeah.
I've had the cake. What I want to now do is put that little bit of icing on the cake, and then I feel my journey is fulfilled. Otherwise, what I may have experienced and enjoyed is just for myself.
Right.
And that feels very selfish. If I can complete that journey, complete that circle, if you like, and give something back, for me, that's the icing on the cake. That's when I can look back in my life and my career and say, actually, I feel proud that I've achieved something because I was able to give something back as well. It wasn't just about me and just about me enjoying and having a fulfilling career, but actually I've been able to also pass that baton on for the next generation.
I just want to pivot a little bit to, with trying to close a digital divide, or at least have a bit of a dent in it. How do you believe that access to the internet and technology is and can transform the lives of children, but specifically in this case, underprivileged, disadvantaged children?
Knowledge is power. At the end of the day, it's really the knowledge in any field of life, whether it's in your work capacity or in your private life. Having knowledge is what empowers you to achieve. So I think knowledge is so important. And I grew up in the pre-internet world, and just to find out something about whether it was part of my studies, or whether I was doing some research, or whether it was a hobby, it meant going to the local library and then foraging for a book. And if you were lucky, you found the right book. If you were not lucky, you might have to order a book, which could take weeks to arrive, or you miss out on that knowledge. Well, of course, now we live in a day and age where that information is there in an instant, literally within seconds. So what before would take you days, hours, or even months or weeks, now you can do within a fraction of a second. This is what technology has done for us. This is what the internet is now able to. I used to love music, and I used to love I wanted to play the guitar, but I wasn't very good, and I didn't apart from being able to go to music classes, which were very expensive, and as a family we couldn't afford it, so I wasn't able to go and get classes. So I wasn't able to learn the guitar in the way I wanted. But of course, now I can go on the internet and I can find the most amazing teachers, giving you the most amazing tuition in learning a guitar, and that's all free of charge, available on the internet. Is the power of what the internet is able to do. And that's just an example, but it could be, in any walk of life, whether it's part of your work and you want to do research, or you just want to find out more about the environment, or the sort of world around you. What technology is now able to do is incredible. But also, it's about connecting human beings. For me, the internet has been the single most brilliant invention for mankind after the discovery of fire, because what it has really done is it's opened up the whole world completely to us. You cannot imagine what life was like before the internet. We lived in a bubble. Well, now I know what my cousins are doing at this very moment in time in India. Even though we may not have met for decades, but I know exactly what he's doing this very moment because they just put it on Facebook.
Yeah,
this is what the world has, the internet has done. It's allowed us to connect with every aspect of the whole planet and beyond as well, if you think about it. And I think that's why it's so important. Technology and things like the internet are really powerful, enriching, informing, and giving us the the knowledge that ultimately leads to power. And I by power, I don't mean ego. I don't mean superiority. What I mean is success in your career, or success in what you do. But knowledge is so important, and that's why technology, which is now enabling that to be at our very fingertips, has been just invaluable.
You reminded me of when I was in Africa. We were at a school, and this boy came and played his guitar. I've got the films somewhere. He played a song that he'd written, and we asked him, "What are your dreams?" He goes, "I want to be the biggest pop star in the world." And we were like, "So how did you learn to play the guitar? Because you don't have a music teacher around here." "Oh, well, I watched Justin Bieber videos online, and I learned chords online." And he plays the guitar fluently through YouTube videos and teachings, like you said. So
amazing.
His dreams were just opened up because he could watch some videos, which sounds a bit bonkers now you say out loud. Finally, can you share a positive message or a quote that's inspired you throughout your life and continues to motivate you?
I'm going to be a little bit egocentric here and talk a little bit about my journey. But I mentioned my mum at the offset, and what she achieved for her family, for her 4 children, through her sacrifice. for me was such an inspiration, because she could have been defeated. Imagine a 30-year-old suddenly loses, you know, the most important person in her life, which is her partner, and she's got 4 children, almost penniless, and a really big future. And yet she had that strength and the character to say, I can achieve this. I can bring my 4 kids up. And not only will I bring them up, but I'll bring them up in the right way. And what I've experienced in my life through both sort of things that have happened in my personal life, but also in my work as well. And I really feel that I've lived a dream. And it is all because of that belief that actually I can do it. I can achieve this. Just think about this, right? A working class boy, the son of an immigrant from a single parent family. And I have gone and done the sort of things that if you'd said to me as a 10-year-old or as a 15-year-old that I would do in my life, I would have laughed at you. When I joined the BBC working behind the scenes at Radio Leicester, it was my ambition to have my own show. And, within 2 years, because I had that real drive and passion and really wanted to achieve, and I worked really hard behind the scenes, and I got my own show within a couple of years. And for me at that stage, it felt like my life was complete. The one thing I really wanted was to present my own program on my BBC local radio station. Little did I know that where my career would take me and what I would end up doing. I became a BBC staff member a few years after that. I was part of the small team that set up the national BBC Asian network. I then ended up traveling the world, doing what was my passion, covering cricket around, beautiful countries like South Africa and India and Pakistan. I just felt so, lucky that I was able to do that. And they paid me for doing that. And then, most recently, I, became the managing editor at the radio station, the first BBC local radio station in the country, and the station where I started my career. And little did I think that I would be the managing editor of the place where I joined as a kid after my university, answering phone calls and photocopying and making coffee. And I just feel all of those things I was able to achieve because I was really single-minded about believing in my ability that I can do this. So the one message I have, and I tell you something, Pradesh, if I can do that, and I don't regard myself as in any way talented, I really have seen so many fantastic people around me, far better than me, far more talented, far more intelligent, far more driven than me. But I guess there was something within me that had this single focus about, I can do this, I can achieve this. And I remember the first day I sat in front of the TV cameras when I presented my first television news bulletin on BBC television. I was terrified. My knees were shaking, and I was thinking to myself, what on earth am I doing here? There are 1,000 people out there who could do this much better than me. And here I am about to go on live on air, reading my first TV news bulletin on BBC News. And it was terrifying. But I did it. And I overcame that fear, and I did it, and I achieved what I wanted to do. And I've gone on to do so many other things like that. And it's all about just believing in yourself and having that focus. So my message would be, you can do it. If I can do this, anyone in this world can do anything. If you want to be the next prime minister, I promise you, you can do it. But it's got to come from within, and you've got to drive yourself, and you've got to really believe and push yourself, and listen to good people around you and go on that journey, because you can do it, right? Learn from my experiences. I've done the sort of things that I would have not even thought were remotely possible, but I've done them. And that's, for me, a really good example in life, that if you believe in your ability, believe in yourself, and have a single-minded focus on what you want to achieve, you can achieve it. Don't ever think I'm not capable. Don't ever doubt yourself, because you know what? Rishi Sunak might have talked about that when he was helping his mum in that pharmacy or in that post office. Did he ever think he would be the prime minister one day? But he has become prime minister. It can be done. We can all achieve, but it has to come from within you and believe in yourself, and you can do it.
Thank you. It's so motivating and inspiring. And I think it's such a much needed message, because we might have that self-belief, but we're so exposed to everybody else that we think, oh, they're doing it better than I am, or they've got all of the tools to do it.
Self-doubt. Yeah, the self-doubt, isn't it? Yeah.
And you just got to stay focused to what you want to do, and stay in your own lane and be focused on that and head down. And knowing you and knowing your career, and even just at the top, just reading out those accolades in your bio, just reminds me of how much you've achieved by just backing yourself to do it, and not validation.
Absolutely. People say, oh, I was really lucky, or you're really lucky, you were in the right place at the right time. Yes, there is an element of that, but you make your own luck. At the end of the day, you've done something in life which has put you there. So it's not just about being lucky. You are responsible for being in that position to have that luck. So, it was you who made that happen. It's not luck. Yes, we all have breaks in our lives. Of course, that's what life is about. Sometimes you get a lucky break, and sometimes, things don't quite work out. That's the nature of the beast. However, you are the person who put yourself in that position there in the first place to get that luck. So don't ever think, oh, because I don't have luck, or I'm not, as talented as somebody else, and they will be able to achieve that. Don't ever have that doubt. Put yourself in that position where that lucky moment or that lucky break can happen for you, but that has to come from within you. You have to put yourself in that position, and then, of course, it's like, if you don't buy the lottery ticket, you're never going to win the million. So you've got to buy that ticket, and that ticket is you, basically.
Yeah, that's I'm just smiling from ear to ear, because I'm just feeling so inspired by your words. So thank you. Thanks for taking the time to speak.
It's really a pleasure.
It's I knew you'd have so much to offer, and it doesn't take much to transfer that. So thank you. This whole Rays of Sunshine series is linked to the Rainbow Boosters project, where we're supporting underprivileged children by connecting them to the internet and our community, to ensure that they don't get left behind in the digital world. I'll put all the information in the links, and you can find out more at rainbowboosters.com. So thank you, Kamlesh, and the next episode will be with you soon. Thanks so much.
Thank you for allowing me a bit of self-indulgence and to share my personal stories with you. Thank you. It's been a privilege.